What's going on, guys? Cody here with me, Selton in St. Cloud. Today we're going to be going over this 2020 Indian Scout Bobber 60. Going over some of the basic features here. We got the 60-degree V-twin 1000cc 61 cubic inch engine making 78 horsepower with 65 foot-pounds of torque. 16-inch wheels on the both. We got 130s in the front and 150s in the rear. 298 millimeter single disc brakes. Calipers both front and rear with dual pistons in the front and single pistons in the rear. This bike does have the ABS. It is in the Thunder Black Smoke color. Let's take it for a quick ride here real quick and kind of talk over how it feels. Alright, hopping on the bike here, we got a 25.6 inch seat height. If you're a shorter rider, this would be a very comfortable bike for you to hop on. Very forgiving for a new rider as well too. Nice, easy, lightweight clutch feel. Really nothing too crazy. Very easy to just roll into the clutch and feel that friction zone. With that said, let's go for a ride. Kind of some of my first impressions with these bikes. They're very comfortable, very smooth. I actually wouldn't mind having one myself. Seating position's quite nice. The seat itself could be a little cushier in my opinion if you're going on a longer cruise, but if you're mostly just looking for something that's going to be a bebopper around town, I really don't think you'll be disappointed with it. Now on this bike you do have a 5-speed transmission. The gears are pretty nicely laid out. You can cruise at higher speeds. Highway speeds would be just fine without really feeling like you're winding out the bike. You know, for being just a 60 cubic inch bike, as far as the Indian goes, kind of being a smaller CC bike for what they offer, it's really not a slow bike at all. It's obviously not a, you know, leader bike rocket that's a 4-cylinder. But for the style of bike it is, even an experienced rider I think would have plenty of power to keep them satisfied for quite a while on it. Now, if it's not quite enough, obviously you could always go up to the regular Scout or the Scout 20. But for the average person, I think a Scout 60 is plenty enough. Coming up here, we got our first corner, kind of get an idea of how it feels, sweeping through the kind of the wider angle corners. Really nice and controlled. I don't feel like the bike's squirrely at all whatsoever. Holding power of the bike is pretty nice too. I'm not even getting anywhere close to wide open throttle on it whatsoever. Obviously this is a used bike that we have to sell, so I can't really be too hard on it. We can have a little bit of fun. I'll also take us out to the highway, get an idea of how, you know, what's it like getting up to speed with the flow of traffic and everything. Obviously cruising some of these back roads, this bike is very comfortable. Obviously with being a cruiser style, it's kind of what they're made for. In a little bit though, we'll head through a neighborhood with a little bit of slower speed stuff and just kind of see how it feels down low, kind of simulate a little bit of what it'd be like riding in town. Hopefully you guys can hear a little bit of the exhaust on it. It's actually a nice sounding bike. It is just a stock exhaust. Go after this car. As you can see, getting up to speed on the highway is no problem at all with these. You got plenty of power to get up. I will say one of my only real gripes with the bike is on the highway when you got quite a bit more wind resistance against you. Having no windshield or fairing whatsoever in the front is kind of a drag. You can definitely feel it kind of pushing you a little bit like a parachute, but if you're going shorter distances, it's really not that bad. Kind of coming into this neighborhood here, just kind of see how it feels. A little bit more like as if you were riding in town, slower speed stuff. So even cruising through here, slower speed stuff, very nice, comfortable bike. I really have no complaints at all with it being, you know, this kind of environment where you're 30, 45 miles an hour or so or less. A nice smooth delivery of the power. I don't feel like it's jerky or anything. I'm just cruising right now in second gear going 25 miles an hour. I've definitely been on some bikes that, you know, feel a little more, maybe not necessarily jerky, but more touchy with the throttle response, and it's really have no complaints with how this handles it. Get a little bit of a footless stop there. Now, if you're comparing this bike weight-wise, say to like a sport bike, 548 pounds, wet and ready to ride, all full up with gas. It is a little bit of a heavy bike, but kind of the nice thing about it, the weight is all pretty nice and low on it, so it's really, you know, maneuverability-wise, very nice feeling bike. I really like what Indian has done with these bikes. I think they're very user-friendly and very accommodating and forgiving for a newer rider. I really think this is a bike that you can't go wrong with, or even if you're coming from the sport bike world and you want something that's a little more relaxed, a little bit more, you know, comfortable with seating position, obviously with forward controls and kind of more sitting on the bike instead of laying on top of it. If you're looking to kind of slow down a little bit and not be racing everywhere or go on longer trips, very nice style of bike. We'll wait for this semi to go past. I don't know about you, but if it's me versus the semi, I think the semi is probably going to win that one every single time. Coming into a couple more corners here, kind of really get a feel for how we are in a more nice big sweeping turn. Now on the Scout Bobber 60, one thing that I would have really liked to see is some sort of fuel gauge on it. Now it does give you a low fuel light that will come on when when you're obviously running low on fuel. But would have been nice to have an actual fuel gauge on it. I think this bike is very confidence inspiring. I really, for what it is, I really can't say enough good things about it. There's, like any bike, no bike's going to be perfect. We're cruising at 55 miles an hour here in fifth gear. Even if you're just to roll on the throttle, say you're on the highway or something, just roll on. Even in fifth gear, you got plenty of torque to get you going faster if you need to pass somebody on the highway or passing somebody on a back road that's going slow. Don't really feel the need like you have to downshift. Of course, you always can. I think it's always a little more fun to drop a gear a little bit there, but good to know you don't have to if you don't need to. Alright guys, we're back at the shop here. Just kind of give you a look at the bike one more time here. Like I said, it's a 2020 Indian Scout Bobber 60. At the moment it's got 287 miles on the clock. That is going to go up a little bit this weekend just as we got our first annual Mies Outland Bikers ride. We're going to use it and take that for the cruise. If you're not doing anything this Saturday, 10 a.m., check in with Shannon in our Watkins store. We are leaving sharp at 11 a.m. we're going to do the cruise from Watkins, head over to St. Cloud, kind of check out some of the stuff that's happening here. From there, we'll have a couple other stops and eventually finally ending back up at the Red Goat in Watkins. We'll have some door prizes, and yeah, we hope to see you there. If you have any questions on the bike, like I said, it's a 2020 Scout Bobber 60. We got it priced right now at $99.99. It just needs to go through the shop and just have a light service done to it just to make sure everything's good to go. But with the low mileage, this bike is barely broken in, should not have any issues. If you have any questions on it, feel free to reach out to our sales staff here in St. Cloud, 320-253-7878. Any questions, feel free, give us a call, leave a comment or something on this video. Let us know what you think.